Once, in a world that knew no peace, there lived a man named Davy, an ordinary soul with a peculiar obsession. From the outside, Davy seemed like any other curious mind, lost in the world of science and inventions. However, lurking beneath his calm exterior was a deep, unquenchable desire to change the course of nature itself. He was obsessed with ducks. From a young age, Davy was fascinated by these peculiar creatures, so simple yet so free. He would spend hours watching them waddle, swim, quack, wondering how such creatures could live in harmony with nature, unaffected by the chaos and suffering that plagued the human world. And so, Davy hatched a grand, albeit insane, plan. Driven by his growing obsession, Davy discovered an ancient artifact, a mystical talisman known as the Feathered Heart, which granted him the power to control the very fabric of reality. With this newfound power, he crafted a serum capable of turning any living creature into a duck. But the twist? He injected it into himself first. No longer human, Davy became a duck, a physical manifestation of his deep need to simplify the world around him. With the transformation complete, Davy found clarity in his new existence, convinced that a world of ducks would be the utopia he had always dreamed of. He called it the Quackening, the day when every living thing would be turned into a duck, thus achieving absolute peace, harmony, and simplicity. Davy, now known as the Quacker, was no longer bound by the frailties of human form. He set his sights on the entire world, determined to transform everyone into a creature of waddling, quacking perfection. But as Davy took his first step towards domination, a group of unlikely heroes... Why am I always the villain? Unlikely heroes began to rise. They were ordinary individuals brought together by fate, each possessing a unique skill or talent that made them the perfect counter to Davy's madness. Dawn, the visionary leader of the group, Dawn had the gift of foresight. His ability to see glimpses of the future made him the perfect strategist to counter Davy's every move. With his clear mind and unwavering resolve, Dawn became the heart of the team. Sarah, the tech wizard. Sarah was a hacker and an inventor, able to build anything from mechanical gadgets to digital defenses. When Davy unleashed his army of robotic ducks to enforce his will, it was Sarah who designed the systems to disable them. Ellie, the empath. Ellie could sense the emotions of those around her, and she used this gift to keep the team in tune with each other's struggles. She could also read Davy's intentions and influence the feelings of those under his control, weakening his influence. Carrie, the survivalist. Carrie had a deep understanding of nature and wildlife. It was her knowledge of animals that helped the team navigate through Davy's many duck-related traps and his labyrinthine layers, often evading his quacking minions. Sharky, the wild card, a former circus performer with a flair for the dramatic, Sharky could think on her feet and adapt quickly to any situation. Her acrobatics and physical prowess allowed her to infiltrate even the most heavily guarded areas of Davy's strongholds.
Thank you!
Kenneth, the diplomat. Often underestimated, Kenneth was a genius in negotiation and persuasion. He could turn enemies into allies, and his ability to bring calm and reason to chaotic situations made him invaluable in preventing the spread of Davy's control. Together, they formed the perfect counterforce dedicated to stopping the quackening and restoring balance to the world. Together, I did that already. The team's first encounter with Davy was an unexpected one. They found themselves in a small, overgrown village that had already succumbed to his influence. The citizens had been transformed into ducks, waddling aimlessly in the streets. As the team fought their way through the transformed population, Davy appeared before them, his feathery wings unfurled. His eyes, though, held the same madness they had when he was a man. "I see you've come to stop me," Davy quacked, his voice distorted by the beak now in place of his mouth. "But it's too late. The world is already changing. Soon we will all be ducks, free, peaceful, and united." "Davy, this isn't peace," Dawn shouted, stepping forward. "You're taking away the essence of what makes each of us unique. You're not giving us freedom, you're enslaving us in your vision of a perfect world." Davy's beak curled in a sinister smile. "Freedom is overrated, Dawn. Simplicity, harmony, these are the true values of the universe. The sooner you all accept this, the sooner we can end this futile struggle." The battle raged across cities and forests as the team faced Davy's increasingly bizarre creations, ducks, duck-shaped robots, giant mutant ducks, and even weather patterns manipulated to bring endless rain and fog, perfect for spreading his serum. But despite the odds, the group pressed on, driven by the belief that the world didn't need to be transformed, it needed to be protected. In the final confrontation, deep within the Feathered Heart's temple, the team finally cornered Davy, who had grown even more monstrous in his transformation, his once human features barely visible beneath layers of feathers and duck-like appendages. The Feathered Heart pulsed with dark energy, threatening to release one final burst of power that would complete the transformation of the world. Davy, Ellie said, stepping forward, this is not you. You can still come back. The world can still be beautiful without forcing everyone to be like you. Davy's eye flickered with doubt. For a moment, the humanity beneath the feathers seemed to resurface. But it was fleeting. With a snap of his wings, he unleashed the full power of the Feathered Heart. She stepped into his hand. You don't have to do this, she said softly. We all have a place in this world. Humans, animals, ducks. We don't have to be the same to be whole. With a powerful cry, Davy's transformation began to unravel. The Feathered Heart shattered, releasing a wave of energy that reversed the transformation across the land. The ducks who had once been people began to return to their human forms. As for Davy, he was left standing, still a duck, but no longer consumed by his madness. And so, the quackening came to an end. Though Davy remained a duck, he was no longer the villain he once was. The world returned to normal, but the memories of the quackening persisted. The saviors, Dawn, Sarah, Ellie, Carrie, Sharky, and Kenneth, became legends, known for stopping one of the strangest and most bizarre threats the world had ever faced. And as for Davy, he spent his days by the lake, quacking softly to the other ducks, no longer seeking world domination, but instead enjoying the simple, peaceful life he had once so desperately sought. Some say he still watches the world from his watery perch, pondering what might have been, but at least now he is at peace. The end. Where's my sounds? Where'd it go? The sun between them, a love lore of Kenneth and Dawn. Long ago, in a valley brushed with golden light and perfumed by wildflowers, there lay a humble farm named Dawnmere. It was not marked on maps, for it belonged to the quiet corners of the world where time slowed and hearts still spoke in silence. Kenneth was a traveler of cities, an archivist, a lover of stories, someone who chased fading myths through dusty roads and ruined halls. He came to Dawnmere chasing tales of a songbird that only sang under the full harvest moon. But instead of a bird, he found someone far rarer. It was midday when he first saw him. Out in the field, beneath the relentless eyes of the sun, was a man, tall, strong, light-skinned from days under heaven's fire, with hands like earth and eyes like quiet rain. He wore a straw hat that cast shadows on his face, and his overalls clung to him with the ease of old habit. His name, as Kenneth would soon learn, was Dawn. Dawn, the farmer of Dawnmere, Dawn, whose name matched the way the sunlight seemed to favor him. Kenneth froze as a man tossed a bale of hay over his shoulders, muscles flexing, sweat trailing like silver as his chiseled chest glistened under the hot sun, catching Kenneth's eyes as he continued to watch intensely at the sight before him. The sun, Kenneth would later say, was showing off smooth dawn like divine work, and in that moment, Kenneth didn't care about moon-singing birds or ancient songs. He only cared about him. Their first conversation was brief. Kenneth flustered, Dawn amused, but something passed between them in that first smile, a pull, ancient and inevitable. Days turned into weeks. Kenneth lingered. He found excuses to stay, claiming his research demanded patience, that perhaps the songbird only sang in Dawn's company. But even he couldn't lie to himself for long. It wasn't a myth. It wasn't a myth he saw anymore. It was the way Dawn's laughter broke open the sky. The way his hands moved with reverence over soil and seed, uwu. The way he always saved the last peach for Kenneth, even when it was the sweetest one. Dawn, too, felt the shift. At first, Kenneth had been a curiosity, a soft-spoken man with ink-stained fingers and wide, wandering eyes. But soon, he became a presence Dawn craved. His voice, his his thoughts, his questions about everything and nothing. How did the sunflowers know to face east? Why did the wind always die at dusk? Why did dawn always smell like lavender and wood smoke? That sounds like a very good combo, by the way. They didn't kith at first, not for a long while. They simply existed near each other, sharing silences, stories, skies. Right meow. Until one late evening, as fireflies wove golden threads through the dusk and the fields swayed like an ocean, Kenneth reached for Dawn's hand, and Dawn, steady and strong, sunlit Dawn, pulled him close and kissed him like he was planting something deep. Oh. They craved each other's lips, touch, and presence too much to care what was happening around them. They accidentally made love in front of an elderly farmer named Davy eating potatoes. Why do I have to be in the corner eating potatoes? Rude. And it did. Oh, from that moment on, where their love for each other was passionate, they knew immediately something would root. And it did. Love bloomed between them, not in thunderclaps, but in quiet harvests, in shared chores and stolen glances. I have to sneeze, and it's not sneezing, and it's bothering me. Woo. In hands brushing over baskets of tomatoes in the stillness after rain. Kenneth stopped chasing myths because he had found one. Not a creature of legend, but a man of earth and light who had somehow made the world feel holy. Years passed. Dawnmere changed with the seasons, but Kenneth and Dawn remained. Some say if you walk through that valley in autumn, you'll see them. Two figures in golden haze, one with a straw hat, the other with a notebook he's long since forgotten to write in. And sometimes, just sometimes, you hear laughter echoing across the field, bright, full, and in love. Not a songbird, but something better. The sound of love growing where it was always meant to. The end. The Village of Fungi. A Tale of the Mushroom People. Deep in the heart of the forest, where the trees grow so tall they seem to touch the sky, lies a hidden village known as Spore Hollow. It's a peaceful and vibrant place, concealed beneath a canopy of lush green leaves that I'm going to pause my Spotify really quick because I don't want YouTube to yell at me when I do that inevitably. Okay. It's peaceful and vibrant place, concealed beneath a canopy of lush and green leaves where the ground is soft with moss and the air is thick with an earthy scent of mushrooms. Here, the mushroom people live in harmony with the forest, their world made of towering fungi, glowing spores, and the hum of nature all around them. At the very center of Spore Hollow stands a towering elder mushroom, a wide and sprawling cap that serves as both a shelter and meeting place for the community. It is here that the mushroom people gather, listen to stories, and decide the course of their lives. And it is here that Kenneth, the village leader, resides. Kenneth, the mushroom elder, is no ordinary mushroom. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, his cap is a deep shade of purple, streaked with silvery lines that shimmer in the moonlight. Unlike other mushrooms, Kenneth's stem is thick and sturdy, his spore release a rare and powerful event that marks significant moments in the village's history. He is wise and calm, a guiding figure who carries the legacy of the ancients, the first mushroom people who forged the village long ago. Kenneth believes in the balance of the forest and the harmony between nature's growth and decay. Under his leadership, Spore Hollow has flourished, the mushroom people living in peace with each other and the creatures of the surrounding woods. His calm demeanor is a source of comfort, and his decisions are respected by all. The mushroom people of Spore Hollow. Davy is an inquisitive and slightly mischievous mushroom person with a bright yellow cap that seems to glow with enthusiasm. He's always seen with a handful of spore particles that he collects from various parts of the village. Davy's curiosity often leads him to explore the deeper parts of the forest, though he tends to get into trouble with the wild creatures that live there. But his adventurous spirit and his ability to think quickly always sees him through. Iverson is the village's resident mathematician and problem solver. Her cap is a geometric patchwork of various shades of green and brown, much like the fungi she studies. With her sharp mind, Iverson has developed an intricate system for managing this village's resources, ensuring that there's always enough food and spore stock to last through the seasons. She's often seen scribbling equations into the dirt or analyzing the growth patterns of the forest's various mushrooms. Abacus. Abacus is a skilled artisan known for crafting beautiful sculptures from mushrooms and other forest materials. Her cap is a soft pink speckled with tiny white spots, resembling a delicate painting. Abacus's work is highly regarded by all the mushroom people, especially her intricate carvings of the forest's mystical creatures. Many of her sculptures are placed around the village as a reminder of their connections to the natural world. What up, Bob? Of course I do. Jane. Jane is the village's healer, tending to the sick and ensuring the well-being of all the citizens. Her cap is a soothing shade of lavender, and her spores are known for their ability to calm pain and promote healing. Jane has a gentle and empathetic nature, and her knowledge of medicinal fungi and plants is unmatched. She's often seen walking through the village with a satchel full of healing herbs, offering advice and aid to anyone in need. Sarah. Sarah is the village's protector, a formidable presence. Her cap is a dark, almost black shade with subtle red veins running through it, signifying her strength and resilience. Sarah trains the younger generation in the ways of defense, teaching them how to use the forest to their advantage and how to fend off any potential threats. Though her stern demeanor might intimidate newcomers, those who know her understand she only wants to keep her people safe. Ellie. Ellie is the village's artist and dreamer. She spends most of her time wandering the village, sketching the beauty around her, from the glow of the forest bioluminescent mushrooms to the swirling clouds above. Her cap is a soft pastel peach, and her spores are said to enhance the creative flow of others. Ellie is known for her storytelling, often weaving tales of the mushroom people's ancestors and the legends of the forest. She inspires the village to dream big and embrace the unknown. Dawn. Dawn is the village's farmer, responsible for growing the vast fields of mushrooms that feed the community. He is practical, grounded, and deeply in tune with the cycles of the land. His cap is a rich shade of brown with the faintest hints of gold in the sunlight. Dawn's patience is unmatched, and he knows exactly when to harvest and when to allow the mushrooms to rest and regenerate. His work is essential to the village's survival, and his connection to the earth runs deep.
Thank you!
The Festival of the Spore Moon. Once a year, when the spore moon rises, a celestial event when the full moon aligns perfectly with the spore release cycle of the forest mushrooms, the mushroom people gather to celebrate the harvest, their history, and the forest's abundant life. The Spore Moon Festival is a grand occasion marked by feasts, dancing, storytelling, and the release of spores into the air to honor the ancestors. During this festival, Kenneth addresses the village, offering wisdom and reflections on the years past. It is a time of unity where the mushroom people celebrate the bonds they share and the wisdom they've gained from the forest. And it is also a time for new beginnings, where the spores scattered during the celebration take root, bringing fresh life to the village. The legacy of the mushroom people. The mushroom people live by a simple yet profound philosophy. We grow, we decay, and from our decay, new life emerges. They understand that their existence is part of a larger cycle, one of growth, of giving, and of renewal. With Kenneth leading them, they are poised to continue living in balance with the forest for generations. Through their trials and triumphs, the mushroom people have learned that strength comes not just from towering trees or the abundant mushrooms, but from the unity of their community. And under Kenneth's leadership, they know that no matter what challenges lie ahead, they will always stand together, rooted in the earth and ready to grow once again. The end. Mash Madness, the Davy Taterman story. Potato quote, "He who peels alone is never truly alone." Davy, probably. In the misty hills of the obscure village of Taterbrook, where the soil was inexplicably rich and suspiciously warm, there lived a man named Davy Taterman. Davy was not like the others in Taterbrook. While most people appreciated potatoes for their culinary versatility, mash 'em, fry 'em, bake 'em, Davy loved potatoes. And not in the, oh, I could eat these all day kind of way. No, Davy loved potatoes in a way that would make a therapist sigh, lock their office door, and promptly retire. Davy's obsession began at the tender age of 5 when he unearthed his first potato in his grandmother's garden. It was a lumpy, mud-caked thing, barely more than a root, but to Davy, it was a golden deity of nourishment and mystery. He named it Rosalump, carried it in his pocket for months, and whispered secrets to it at night. By 12, he had built a shrine in his closet made entirely of potato statues carved from raw russets and Yukon golds. By 15, he could identify the breed of a potato by licking it. He was banned from 4 farmers' markets. His parents truly thought of this to be a phase. It wasn't. Shockingly, Davy married a stunning, intelligent woman named Sarah, a local artist known for her watercolors and knowledge of grogues in life. Sarah had beautiful eyes, a sharp wit, and a closet full of potato-scented candles. A compromise after Davy replaced all their wedding photos with framed pictures of various potato dishes. How's it going, Lizzie? At first, she thought his obsession was charming, even quirky. She was drawn to his intensity, his passion, his smell. Davy often smelled like butter 98% of the time. The other 2% cheese. He promised Sarah love, laughter, and a life full of warmth. But all his warmth was reserved for russets. But then, eventually, came the potato room, a temperature-controlled basement dungeon of starch and sorrow, every inch lined with shelves, each shelf with potatoes, raw, cooked, dehydrated, fermented, sculpted, taxidermied. Don't ask. There were even journals, pages and pages of potato poetry. Oh, Russet's muse, your eyes are many, yet none judge me like Sarah's. It was clear, Sarah had married the man, but his heart belonged to the potatoes. Lonely and suffocating in a house that constantly smelled of paprika and despair, Sarah found solace in the arms of another, Ellie, the charismatic and slightly mysterious woman who ran the organic carrot stall at the market. Ellie smelled like lilacs and rebellion and cheese. Their love was gentle, forbidden, and passionate, like the plot of a French art film, but with more root vegetables. They would meet under the guise of yoga and wine tastings, which were in fact yoga and wine tastings, but also heavy on the meaningful eye contact and occasional light weeping. They were soulmates, complicated soulmates, because Sarah, despite it all, couldn't leave Davy. Not yet. Not when he whispered to his potatoes at night and called them my precious starchlings. Not when he needed help shaving the skin off his children before bath time. One night, Sarah walked downstairs to find Davy in the kitchen, naked except for an apron, holding a sack of potatoes like an infant. There were candles, hundreds of them. A recording of Gregorian chants played softly. He turned to her and said in the flattest voice imaginable, "They've chosen me. The starch requires sacrifice." Sarah backed slowly up the stairs. She slept in the car that night. Ellie offered to take her in. She said no. She always said no. Because despite it all, there was a part of her that felt responsible, as though leaving Davy alone with his potatoes might finally tip him over the edge. From obsessive hobbyist into full-blown potato messiah, Davy's obsession grew darker. He began conducting potato seances, trying to channel the ancient spirits of the soil. He insisted the potatoes spoke to him, offering warnings, wisdom, and baking tips. Once, he held a town hall meeting to propose potatoes be added to the local school curriculum as emotional support produce. His most terrifying creation? A life-size sculpture of Sarah made entirely of mashed potatoes and glue. He called her Gravy Receptacle Number 1. Oh, dear God. Sarah cried for 6 hours and then met Ellie for a picnic. Eventually, Davy stopped calling Sarah by her name. She became Spadina. She did not correct him. Davy believes he is the reincarnation of Sir Starchicus I, a mythical figure who allegedly ended a famine with a single boiled fingerling. He's currently building a Spud Ark to save his collection from the coming Carbacost, a doomsday scenario in which keto diets destroy civilization. The neighbors avoid eye contact. And so it goes, Davy lives in his ever-growing labyrinth of potatoes, writing sonnets to his spuds, rubbing oil into their skin, and muttering dark prophecies to a particularly lumpy heirloom he calls the Oracle of Fry. Sarah still brings him tea. She still pretends not to hear their whispers coming from the cellar. She still meets Ellie every Thursday. They hold hands, they talk about escape, but Sarah always goes home. Is Davy mad? Perhaps. Is he dangerous? Only to low-carb enthusiasts. But one thing is certain, Davy loved his potatoes more than anything in the world, more than love, more than reason, and definitely not more than Sarah. And in the end, maybe the potatoes loved him back. Though no one can say for sure, except the Oracle of Fry, and it's not talking. The end. But the magic of Davy's birthday, a tale from the basement. Once upon a time, in a cozy little town, there lived a man named Davy Servone. Really? No Davy Calzone? Interesting. To the outside world, he was just another ordinary guy. But to those who knew him, he was something far more extraordinary. On the internet, Davy wasn't just any person. He was the heart and soul of a vibrant community. His TikTok streams were legendary, full of energy, laughter, and the kind of warmth that made everyone feel like family. His followers didn't just call themselves fans, they were proudly called themselves Davy's Basement, a name as quirky as Davy himself, and just as full of love. On this particular day, it was no ordinary day, it was Davy's birthday. Thanks, Ken. The morning began with sunshine, and though Davy didn't know it yet, the universe had already decided this would be the most magical birthday ever. As the clock ticked closer to his birthday, Davy started his usual morning routine with his faithful companions by his side, his 3 mischievous cats, Skittles, the quiet but wise feline who always had a way of making everyone feel at peace. Baylor, the playful one, and Pentagon, the one who always seemed to be plotting something. Valid. But as Davy sat down for his first cup of coffee, the doorbell rang, signaling the arrival of something special. His parents, Elaine and Joe, had been preparing something wonderful in secret. They smiled at him, holding a cake in their hands, beautifully decorated with icing and candles flickering in a soft glow. "Happy birthday, Davy," they cheered, their face full of love and pride. With a grin from ear to ear, Davy blew out the candles, making a wish so big that it could fill an entire universe. His cats, Skittles, Baylor, and Pentagon, gathered around, purring in approval, as if they too were celebrating. It was the perfect start to a perfect day. After the cake and laughter died down, Davy felt the itch to dive into something he loved, a game. So he descended into his basement, the place where he always felt most at home, surrounded by his gaming setup, a soft glow from the screen, and the soothing sounds of water flowing in his favorite simulator, Water Park Simulator. He cracked his knuckles. Oh, I don't have to crack my knuckles. That's so unfortunate. Ready for the adventure ahead when suddenly the room lit up with unexpected joy. The sound of his stream/Discord notification rang in his ears. His heart skipped a beat as his screen filled with hundreds of notifications, but something was different. His followers weren't just leaving comments or sending gifts. No, they had something much bigger planned. From every corner of his screen, voices came alive. There, his Discord voice chat magically appeared, revealing hundreds of his supporters. Emma, the chat's ultimate hype queen, led the charge. "Surprise Davy," she cheered, her energy radiating through the screen. Ellie, always the prankster, popped up with a digital confetti explosion. You didn't think we forgot, did you? One by one, members of Davy's basement flooded the screen, creating the most unexpected, how dare you, most unexpected and heartwarming birthday celebration in the history of the internet. Abacus simply posted a graph, Davy's happiness over time. The curve was smooth except for one huge spike labeled birthday. Beneath, she wrote happiness equal birthday love times community divided by Davy's awesomeness. Classic Abacus, simple, sweet, and to the point. Sharky, the jokester, shared a hilarious meme of Davy in a pickle suit, and Sarah and Kenneth teamed up to create a digital birthday cake that seemed to have too many candles. Because I'm old. Then, just when Davy thought his heart couldn't get any fuller, everyone, yes everyone, came together via voice chat, turned on their cameras, and sang him the most beautiful rendition of Happy Birthday, and even with his parents in attendance. Happy birthday to you, Davy, the legend of the basement. The sound echoed through the screen, and the chat exploded with love and laughter, and it wasn't just a song, it was a celebration of the community that Davy had built, one filled with creativity, kindness, and unbreakable bonds. As the last note of the song lingered in the air, Davy was overwhelmed. His eyes welled up with tears, not from sadness, but from the sheer joy of it all. In that moment, he realized something that he would carry with him forever. It wasn't the cake or the presents that made his birthday special, it was the love from those who had supported him, laughed with him, and stood by him every single day. It was his community, his friends, his basement family. Which sounds so funny out of context. Oh. Davy smiled through his happy tears, a feeling of warmth spreading through his chest. You guys are the best. I don't know what I did to deserve all of this. That sounds oddly like me. And with that, the celebration continued, both on screen and off, with Davy's cat sitting beside him, purring contentedly, as if they too knew this was a day to remember. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Davy ended his stream, but not without one final message to his beloved community. Thank you for making my birthday the best one yet. I love you all. Valid, and it's true. And so, Davy's birthday came to a close, not with the end of the day, but the beginning of another chapter, one where love, laughter, and the spirit of community would continue to shine bright forevermore. The end, but with confetti instead of sparkles. Thanks, Ellie. Oh my god, I love that it's David Calzone.